Hi, it's Katrina. Number 10. Spider horror. The Brazilian wandering spider is one of the most dangerous arachnids on the planet. A man named Gil Wiesen was unfortunate enough to come across one of these deadly spiders in his bedroom in eastern Ecuador. He walked into his room to discover a gigantic wandering spider on the wall with hundreds, maybe thousands of its tiny offspring crawling across the floor and walls as if they were coming into the room through cracks in the plaster. When Gil looked underneath his bed, he found their nest. The mother laid eggs below his bed, then the baby spiders hatched and started their life by crawling up his walls. Gil took a photograph, titled it The Spider Room, and went on to win the Wildlife Photographer of the Year award for urban wildlife. The mother spider was roughly the size of a human hand, although it appears much bigger in the photograph due to the forced perspective. The Brazilian wandering spider can grow to nearly 12 inches long and delivers a deadly neurotoxic venom. It's a good thing Gil was able to capture the spider and get it out of the house, because if not, he could have died. Number 9. A fatal attack. There was only a single fatal shark attack in America in 2022. That's out of 51 recorded attacks, mostly in Florida. The only one that proved fatal happened in Hawaii. A woman from Washington state traveled to Hawaii for what should have been an amazing vacation. She took the opportunity to go snorkeling off the coast of the Big Island near Keawakapu Point on December 8th. She went with her husband, who was snorkeling only a few feet away, when suddenly he lost track of his wife. She wasn't where she had been a second ago, although there was a shark about 50 yards away with blood around its gills. Not the best case scenario for the husband. He sounds pretty suspicious too. Oh yeah, we were snorkeling and then suddenly my wife disappeared. Several days went by before officials finally confirmed that while her husband snorkeled nearby, the woman was attacked and killed by a shark. Eyewitnesses came forward to say they saw the whole thing. The woman was snatched by the shark and dragged away. Moments later, the shark appeared in a different spot, feasting on something inside a cloud of murky red water. It's unclear what species of shark committed this heinous act. It was likely a tiger shark, although it also could have been a bull shark or even a great white. And although this was the only fatal attack in the US in 2022, that wasn't the only instance of a shark gone wrong. A 17-year-old cheerleader named Addison Bethea had her leg bitten off by a shark while swimming at the beach in Florida. And in November, a woman from California almost had the same thing happen at Del Mar Beach in San Diego. Number 8. Fending off a mountain lion. A teenager in Nevada recently walked away from a surprise encounter with a deadly mountain lion with nothing but scratches. The girl took her dog for a walk in a small Reno neighborhood on November 10, 2022. As she walked her dog, she was approached by the ferocious cat. The most shocking part about it was that the cat approached her in a heavily populated neighborhood. This isn't the kind of place where people need to be worried about cougar attacks. Ashley Sanchez from the Nevada Department of Wildlife says mountain lions are extremely elusive and rare to see, so this was a freak event. The exact details of the attack are a little blurry since the teen wasn't interested in talking to reporters. Can you blame her? We know that the big cat was likely after her small dog. However, it had to go through the teenager to get at the dog. The mountain lion pounced, tried to swipe the girl with one of its paws, then chickened out and ran away. The girl's screams were enough to frighten the mountain lion off, leaving her and the dog perfectly fine. It was an extremely close encounter that could have turned deadly. In the aftermath of the attack, wildlife officials hunted the mountain lion down and euthanized it for public safety. Still, there are plenty of other big cats lurking in the sparse wilderness of Nevada, and any one of them might come into town at night, searching for a meal. And now for number 7. But first, I want to give a big shout out to Shona McIntosh and Kelly Ciarino. Thanks so much for watching and supporting Origins Explained. If you are new here, be sure to subscribe and join the family. And let us know if you've had any scary animal encounters. Number 7. Saved by a bear. On January 22, 2019, Casey Lynn Hathaway disappeared in North Carolina from his grandmother's home. The boy was only 3 years old, and the temperature outside was well below freezing. The grandmother freaked out. The parents were called. The FBI and the Marines stationed at nearby bases got involved in the search. It was a huge ordeal. Local officials, state officials, and ordinary citizens all came out to scour the woods in search of little Casey. He was finally discovered 2 days later in a bush, lethargic and hungry, but otherwise perfectly fine. So, how did such a small child survive in the forest alone for so long? According to the boy, he was saved by a wild bear. The boy claimed he was taken care of by a bear for 2 full days before his rescuers found him. The bear kept him warm through the night so that he didn't freeze to death, and it kept him from being attacked by predators like wolves. We have no idea if this really happened. There was a lot of speculation after the boy was discovered. Some said God sent an angel in disguise as a bear to watch over the child. Others said the boy made the story up because he was traumatized. But wildlife experts admitted there really could have been a bear involved, one whose maternal instinct caused her to protect the boy from the harsh weather and merciless predators. Number 6. Attack of the Orca. In Portugal, a group of ornery orcas sank a boat, ripped off its rudder, and nearly killed the people on the vessel. The French sailboat went down in early November 2022 during an unprecedented orca rampage in the region. Since 2020, orcas, also known as killer whales, have been targeting sailboats off the coast of Spain and Portugal. Sometimes the orcas approach the sailboats innocently. Sometimes they attack with extreme prejudice. Nobody seems to know if the orcas are fed up with humans and their annoying boats, or if these have just been freak accidents. Whatever the case, many boats have recently been sunk by the angry animals. The French sailboat in Portugal had 4 passengers on board. They were 14 miles from Viana do Castelo when 6 orca whales surrounded them. The whales went for the rudder, shook it loose, and ripped it off the boat, and kept biting until there was a loud crack. The whales purposely bit chunks out of the boat until it started to sink. Then they swam away like thieves fleeing the scene of the crime. Nobody was injured during the shocking encounter. A rescue boat arrived quickly enough to save those on board before the boat fully sank. Marine experts believe the pod of killer whales that attacked the sailboat could be the same group responsible for all the attacks over the past almost 3 years. There could be a rogue pod of whales with a vendetta against sailboats. Number 5. Rhino charge. A rhinoceros in India tried to cross the road and crashed into an oncoming truck. It happened in October 2022 inside the Kaziranga National Park and was amazingly caught on video. The truck was speeding in the Bagari area when the rhino exploded out of the trees on the roadside and tried to cross the 2 lanes of asphalt. The truck saw the rhinoceros and tried to swerve out of the way, but the rhino kept on running. The rhino crashed into the side of the truck, but the truck kept going. It was difficult to say who hit who. Officials with the forest department intercepted the vehicle and gave the driver a fine for going too fast in rhino territory. Rhinos are considered special, sacred animals in India and are not to be harmed by anyone. Even though the rhino survived, the driver of the truck had to be made an example out of for putting the rhino in danger by driving too fast. Just imagine being on your way to work and having a rhino collide with the side of your vehicle. That would be one exciting commute. Number 4. The rare black leopard. An amateur British photographer had one of the most surprisingly amazing encounters of his life in September of 2022. Steve Darling, 74, was on a safari in Kenya when he witnessed an extremely rare black leopard out at night stalking its prey. The leopard wasn't hunting Steve, but a dik-dik antelope. The safari was Steve's first trip after the lockdown. He was very lucky to witness the elusive leopard in the flesh, while he and the group made their way back to camp. The young female leopard is named Giza, which is the Swahili word for darkness. She's almost impossible to see in the night because her black coat makes her blend in with the darkness of the savannah. Steve was never in any danger, but the antelope Giza was hunting certainly was. Steve was able to watch as the black leopard hunted and killed the antelope, then dragged it up into an acacia tree to eat. When she finished her meal after about 2 hours, the leopard climbed down from the tree and melted away into the night. Number 3. The bull elk's harem. In October 2022 in Estes Park, Colorado, a clueless tourist got on the wrong side of a bull elk and nearly paid for the mistake with his life. This guy narrowly avoided disaster with the massive animal who was protecting his harem. Another visitor to the park, Megan Foster, captured the unpleasant encounter on video and uploaded it online. Too many people in the park had crowded the gigantic bull elk, frantically taking pictures of the normally quiet and docile animal. But this was in the middle of mating season, when bull elk defend their females from rival bulls who want a piece of the action. These bulls compete for dominance by fighting with their massive antlers. It's an exciting thing to witness, but only from a safe distance. The National Park Service recommends staying far enough away that you need to use binoculars to watch. These tourists were not standing far enough away, and one of them got way too close. He irritated the elk so bad that it pretended to charge him, psyching the guy out and causing him to fall over. The man was able to get up and give the animal the space it needed, but he just about wound up getting gored by the elk's horns. Number 2. Mauled in the backyard. A woman in Vermont was mauled by a bear in her own backyard one late night in November 2022. It was a little before 10 in the town of Winhall when Sarah Deedle, 43 years old, let her Shih Tzu outside to do its business. Her tiny dog then chased a bear cub that was in the yard with its mother straight up a tree, causing the mama bear to get really mad. The mama bear came charging out of the dark and tackled Sarah, who had just been trying to figure out what in the world was happening. The bear grabbed hold of her and was ready to tear her apart when her friend clobbered the beast over the head with a flashlight. Robert was able to pull Sarah into the house just seconds before the bear charged at the door and tried to rip it off its hinges. Robert managed to slam the door in the bear's face before it could get inside. And although Sarah had to receive 15 staples in her scalp, she walked away from the terrifying encounter with her life. She also suffered a mangled hand and many cuts to her face and abdomen. According to the Vermont Fish and Wildlife Department, bear sightings in Vermont have reached the highest ever recorded. Officials are strongly urging citizens to make sure their yards are lit at night before they let their pets out, and to not leave any food outside that might attract hungry bears. Number 1. Monster octopus. A Hawaiian fisherman just broke a 20-year record for catching a monstrous octopus. Michael Matsunaga, a local from the island of Oahu, caught the octopus on the morning of August 30th, 2022 in Turtle Bay. He was practicing something called bottom fishing, which is when you drop your bait all the way to the bottom of the water to try and snag fish near the sea floor. Michael was fishing at 400 feet when he suddenly nabbed something huge. There was a brief struggle to get the creature onto his boat, and then an even bigger struggle with the creature in his boat. With its 8 arms, the gigantic octopus refused to stay still. Michael eventually got it into a cooler, but the thing kept forcing its way out and trying to escape. In the end, Michael got the preposterously massive sea monster back to shore. It was weighed using an official scale at 25.95 pounds. That is the state record in Hawaii for the biggest octopus ever captured. The previous record was almost 7 pounds lighter, showing just how beastly this 8-legged cephalopod really was. Sadly for the oversized octopus, Michael told reporters he was planning to boil it in beer one leg at a time. Keep in mind that just because the octopus was the biggest ever caught in Hawaii doesn't make it the biggest in the world. The much larger, giant Pacific octopus weighs over 600 pounds and can grow to be 30 feet across. Thanks for watching! Which animal would you be most terrified of meeting in the wild? Let me know in the comments below. Be sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and come back soon. Bye!